I'm sorry, but the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max weren't made for you. Here's why. Upgrading to this phone might make the most sense or no sense at all, depending on which kind of person you are. Every year when the new iPhone comes out, people talk about how nothing's changed, how it's the same phone. And for the most part, those people are correct. And for the most part, those people are also Android fans. Okay, I'm just kidding. But that might even be more true in this case. So given all that, what makes this Pro actually Pro? With the new titanium, this does feel lighter and smoother. It does now have USB-C. It again has improved camera performance. And it does have that new action button. But in my experience, the weight, you kind of forget about it at some point. How it feels, you end up putting a case on it anyway. And it doesn't look that much different from any other iPhone that you've had in the past 4 years. In most cases, the USB-C will just kind of feel like a different version of Lightning. The camera has definitely improved, but it just continues to take great photo and video as it always has. And the action button, similar to the toggle, will just kind of be there and people won't really touch it much. So if it isn't clear by now, this isn't that much of an upgrade. If you have an iPhone 12 or 13 above, you should be good. So who does this phone make sense for? It makes sense if you're pro enough for it. Hold up, I don't mean to be judgy or gatekeepy. All it takes is for you to put a bit of time, effort, and money into making the most of all these features. I know this sounds a bit general, but let's circle back to the things I mentioned earlier and see how those things make this pro. The new USB-C opens up so much potential for you to use it with keyboards, mice, microphones, even audio interfaces. There's a lot more you can do now that it's USB-C. And all it takes is a bit of time, effort, and maybe again a bit of money to get these things and use it with your phone. On top of that, with USB-C, plugging in an SSD or an external drive to record the ProRes log footage on this thing, super useful. Log is a specific kind of color profile for video that a lot of professional videographers and filmmakers use to give them the most data possible from a scene that you're trying to capture. This allows you to be super granular with the footage that you use, adjust it, the brightness, contrast, even coloring, color grading, all that. All of that's possible because it's super flat and super balanced color profile that's perfect for all of those adjustments. And the iPhone 15 Pro and Pro Max can shoot that now. But the reality is you won't be able to make use of it unless you learn how to adjust it for yourself. Even if I'm used to shooting in log, I still have a lot to learn about this. And that's given I have a professional level camera already. And while the iPhone can now churn out video that is fully usable by professional level filmmakers, again, it takes a bit more time, effort, and money to make the most of this feature. Learning how to properly shoot log footage, learning how to properly color grade and adjust that footage in your editing software. And again, external hard drive SSD just to store the files that are super huge that will eat up your phone memory, no doubt. And finally, there's the action button. Changing it from a toggle or a switch to now an action button opens up so many possibilities. By default, it's still set to adjust, the silent mode. But there's so many more additional things that you can do with it, especially using the Shortcuts app. I'm pretty sure a lot of you watching this video right now don't realize that this app is available on your current iPhone. As the name implies, it's an app that allows you to create shortcuts using if and then statements, like if this condition happens and this thing will happen, etc., etc. And now the action button can trigger those shortcuts. For me, I have it set that when I hold it, it opens this shortcut menu and you can assign whatever you want and it will, trigger anything by whatever I select. And because the Shortcuts app is super useful and super customizable, the things you can do with this are almost endless. But again, this is essentially basic level coding. You have to kind of learn how to set conditions and how to, create this logic that the Shortcuts app will understand. And again, that takes a bit of time and a bit of effort. And I'm telling you, most people will not have the patience for that. The iPhone 15 Pro is an underwhelming upgrade by most standards and for most people. And even those that are willing to make the upgrade might not really notice anything particularly different with the experience. But given all that, the iPhone 15 Pro has some of the highest potential for creativity, customizability, and productivity of any iPhone ever. Most people will probably not want to do all of that. And for them, this is not a worth it upgrade. But ironically, this iPhone 15 Pro or Pro Max has the best chance of living up to its Pro name than any iPhone Pro ever. But that's up to you. Are you willing to put in the time, effort, and a bit of money to make this truly a pro device?